Zalamphi Noriko had worked in the huge mansion for many years, always during the quiet hours when the world slept. She cleaned long halls, polished cold floors, and stayed invisible, as maids were expected to do. One silent night, while checking the gate before dawn, a soft sound stopped her. It was not the wind or a cat. It was the weak cry of a child. Her heart raced as she moved closer, unsure if she was imagining it. Near the heavy iron gate, she saw a small bundle placed carefully on the ground. Inside was a newborn, shivering and red-faced, wrapped in expensive fabric. Zalamphi lifted the baby gently, fear and warmth crashing together in her chest. Tucked inside the blanket was a folded paper. When she read it, her hands shook. The message pointed toward a powerful man connected to the mansion, a truth that could destroy lives if exposed. Zalamphi panicked. In this house, workers lost their jobs for small mistakes. Being found with an unknown child could end her livelihood forever. She considered leaving the baby at an orphanage before anyone noticed. But something about the child's tiny fingers holding her sleeve made her pause. She chose to stay and face whatever came next. Before she could decide, the owner of the mansion returned earlier than planned. Bekithemba Relibo, known for his cold nature and strict rules, stepped inside and froze when he saw the infant in her arms. The air became heavy. Zalamphi expected anger, blame, or instant dismissal. Instead, the truth began to surface. The paper told a painful story of a woman from years ago, someone who vanished after a hidden connection with the powerful man. Bekithemba ordered investigations in silence, hiding his emotions behind his wealth and authority. A private test was arranged without anyone's knowledge, while he acted distant toward the child. When the truth was confirmed, money could not protect him anymore. The child carried his blood. His perfect public image cracked, and his past stood in front of him, breathing and helpless. While others expected Zalamphi to demand wealth or praise, she surprised everyone. She asked only for safety, respect, and a future for the child without shame. In a moment that shocked the nation, Bekithemba stood before cameras and admitted everything. The mansion changed after that day. The baby brought warmth to cold walls, and Zalamphi's courage turned her from an unseen worker into the soul of a new family. Hidden within the soft wrapping was a small folded paper that changed everything. Zalamphi's eyes moved across the message, and her breath caught. The words pointed toward a man whose power ruled the very house she served in. The meaning was clear, yet dangerous. This was not an ordinary child left by chance. This message connected the infant to wealth, influence, and a past meant to stay buried. Her thoughts raced. If anyone discovered this paper in her hands, suspicion would fall on her first. In that home, silence was safety, and questions led to punishment. She imagined guards accusing her, managers blaming her, and her years of loyal service ending before sunrise. Fear urged her to hide the truth, to pretend she never saw the paper at all. As she stood there, holding the tiny life close, memories of harsh rules filled her mind. Workers had vanished from the mansion before, sent away without explanation. Zalamphi knew she was standing at the edge of something far bigger than herself. Still, leaving the child alone felt impossible. The baby's quiet breathing pressed against her chest, grounding her in the moment. When the owner returned unexpectedly, tension filled the halls. His presence always brought silence. Seeing the child in Zalamphi's arms stopped him cold. His sharp eyes searched her face, then dropped to the infant. Nothing was said, yet the weight of the moment spoke loudly. He ordered privacy, his voice controlled but distant. Behind closed doors, the past began to surface. Long ago, a woman had disappeared without answers. Her name was never spoken again, erased by money and authority. The message linked her fate to the present, forcing buried memories to rise. The man who controlled everything demanded proof, choosing secrecy over emotion. Tests were arranged quietly, away from public eyes. Days passed slowly, filled with tension and unanswered questions. When confirmation arrived, it shattered the life he had carefully built. The truth stood undeniable, beyond influence or wealth. For the first time, control slipped through his fingers. Zalamphi was offered comfort and reward, but she refused easy gifts. Her request was simple yet powerful. She wanted safety, respect, and a future where the child would never feel unwanted. Her courage shifted something inside the cold walls of the mansion. Soon, Cameras flashed as the truth was spoken openly. The world listened in shock. What began as a quiet night ended as a turning point. The house that once felt empty now held warmth, and the woman who once felt invisible became the reason everything changed. Zalanthe hesitates, her feet locked to the cold floor as fear fills her chest. She knows how this house works. People disappear from their jobs without warning, sometimes without explanation. A broken glass, a late step, a single complaint can end everything. Holding an unknown child inside these walls feels like carrying trouble in her arms. Her mind fills with questions. Who left this baby here? Why at this gate? What if security cameras recorded her first? What if someone accuses her of stealing, lying, or worse? She imagines being called into the office, hearing sharp words, losing the small room she sleeps in, losing the only income she has ever known. The thought makes her hands tremble. She looks down at the baby's face. The child is calm now, eyes closed, breathing softly. That small piece makes her pause. She thinks of her own childhood, of hunger, of being unseen. Walking away would be safer, but it would leave this child alone in the dark world she knows too well. Her heart pulls her in one direction while fear drags her back. Footsteps echo somewhere inside the mansion. Zalanthe flinches. Every sound feels louder. She hides the baby closer to her chest, unsure where to stand or what to say. Time stretches painfully. She considers leaving through the side gate, placing the child somewhere public, pretending this night never happened. Yet her legs refuse to move. Memories return of other workers who begged for second chances and never got them. She knows mercy is rare in this place. Power lives here, not kindness. Still, something stronger than fear keeps her rooted. Maybe it is courage she never knew she had. Or maybe it is the quiet trust in the baby's grip around her finger. When voices grow closer, her choice is made without words. She straightens her back, even as her heart pounds. Whatever happens, she will not abandon this child. If punishment comes, she will face it standing, not running. In that moment, Zalanthe stops being just a worker afraid of losing her job. She becomes a protector, choosing what is right over what is safe. The decision feels heavy but also clear. This pause, this hesitation, becomes the moment that changes everything, even though she does not yet know how high the cost may be. CEO Bekethemba Relibo arrives unexpectedly and notices the baby in Zalanthe's arms. The night seems to freeze as he steps inside the hall, his coat still on, his eyes sharp from travel. He was not meant to return until morning, and no one was prepared for his presence. The lights feel too bright, the silence too loud. Zalanthe's breath shortens as she lowers her head, waiting for anger to fall on her. He studies the scene without speaking. The child's small movement catches his attention first, then the way Zalanthe holds the infant with care, not fear. His expression does not soften, but something unsettles him. This house is built on order, rules, and control. A child does not belong here, especially not at this hour. Zalanthe tries to explain, but her voice shakes. Words come out slowly, carefully chosen. She does not accuse, does not beg. She only speaks the truth of what she found and why she could not walk away. Each second feels like a test she might fail. Staff members nearby avoid eye contact, sensing danger. Bekethemba moves closer. He looks at the baby's face, then away, then back again. A strange recognition passes through him, one he quickly hides. He asks short questions, his tone calm but distant. The room waits for his judgment. Everyone knows a single command from him can end a life's stability. Instead of shouting, he orders privacy. Doors close. Guards step back. The choice surprises everyone. Zalanthe's knees feel weak, but she remains standing. She senses that something deeper has been disturbed, something tied to memories long buried. The baby stirs, letting out a soft sound. That small noise breaks through years of emotional distance. Bekethemba's jaw tightens. He turns away, giving instructions that reveal nothing of his thoughts. Arrangements are made quietly, without explanation. As he leaves the room, he pauses. For a brief moment, his eyes meet Zalanthe's. There is no anger there, only conflict. She realizes this meeting is not just about rules being broken. It is about a past knocking on the door without warning. That unexpected return shifts the direction of every life inside the mansion. What should have been a simple command becomes the start of unraveling secrets, changing power, and a future no one planned for. The note reveals the baby's mother disappeared after a hidden relationship years ago. The message explains a quiet bond that once existed far from public eyes. It speaks of a woman who lived in the shadows of wealth, loving someone powerful while knowing the cost of being seen. She vanished without noise, leaving no trail, no farewell, only questions sealed in ink and folded tight. Zalamthi reads slowly, feeling the weight behind every sentence. The writer sounds desperate yet careful, as if each word was chosen to survive discovery. The woman had no place in the grand world around her. She existed between late meetings, secret calls, and promises that could never breathe in daylight. When her presence became dangerous, she was pushed into silence. The paper hints at fear, not anger. It tells of pressure from people who controlled money, image, and influence. The woman understood that speaking out would destroy more than it saved, so she stepped away, carrying a truth no one was allowed to claim. Her absence was not weakness. It was protection. As Zalamthi finishes reading, the room feels colder. She realizes the child is the only living proof of that erased chapter. Everything else was cleaned away, like dust on polished floors. The mansion has always been perfect on the surface, yet this story reveals cracks beneath the shine. When Bekithemba reads the same words, his stillness deepens. Memories return uninvited. He remembers laughter shared in private rooms, trust built in silence, and warnings he chose to ignore. He believed problems could be solved with distance and time. He never imagined the past would return so small, so fragile, and so real. The message does not ask for money or forgiveness. It only asks for acknowledgement. It asks for safety, not luxury. That simplicity hurts more than blame ever could. The truth forces him to face choices made long ago, choices that shaped a life he never planned to accept. Zalamthi senses the shift. This is no longer about a worker finding a child. It is about a story buried under power finally reaching the light. The woman who vanished may never return, but her voice survives through the child she left behind. What was once hidden now stands breathing in the open. Secrets lose strength when spoken, and this single paper becomes the key that unlocks a future nobody can control anymore. Bekithemba secretly orders a test while pretending the baby means nothing to him. He keeps his face calm, voice flat, actions measured. In front of staff, he shows no interest, no warmth, no concern. He speaks about schedules, security, and silence, as if the small life nearby does not exist. Yet behind closed doors, plans begin to move quietly. Calls are made late at night. Trusted people are chosen carefully. Nothing is written down. No records are left where eyes might wander. He demands speed and privacy, not answers spoken aloud. Control is his shield, and he holds it tight. The child is moved to a safe room, watched by few, noticed by fewer. Zalamthi senses the distance, but also the tension. She sees how he avoids looking too long, how his steps slow when passing the door, how his jaw tightens at the faintest sound. His silence feels heavy, not careless. She understands that power often hides fear behind calm order. Days pass with forced normality. Meetings continue. Phones ring. The mansion breathes as it always has. Still, something has shifted. The walls listen. Every footstep carries weight. Waiting becomes its own kind of pain. When the results are ready, they are delivered without ceremony. No envelope marked, no name spoken. He reads alone. Time stretches. The truth does not shout. It lands quietly, firmly, impossible to ignore. The world he built with discipline and distance begins to crack. He does not celebrate. He does not rage. He sits in stillness, staring at what cannot be undone. Wealth has solved many problems for him, but this one stands untouched. Identity, legacy, and responsibility press in from every side. Outside the room, Zalamthi waits without knowing why. She feels the air change. The silence deepens, then settles. When he finally emerges, his eyes look different. Not softer, but honest. The mask remains, yet it no longer fits as well. He continues to act distant, but decisions start to change. Protection replaces avoidance. Planning replaces denial. The future is no longer an abstract idea. It has a heartbeat. This quiet choice, made away from cameras and crowds, becomes the turning point. What began as denial slowly shifts toward acceptance. And although he pretends nothing matters, everything already does. Results confirm the baby is his, shaking his image, pride, and future. Bekethemba sits alone in his office, staring at the paper in his hands. The numbers and letters on the test leave no doubt. He swallows hard, feeling a cold weight settle over him. Every carefully built barrier, every flawless reputation, every step he took to stay untouchable, all of it suddenly feels fragile. The truth does not ask permission. It simply exists, undeniable and powerful. His mind races. What will people say? How will the staff react? Investors, colleagues, and the media. All will notice the ripple if this news leaks. He has always controlled outcomes, calculated risks, and hidden mistakes. Now nothing can be managed with money, authority, or silence. This is not about business. This is about life he never prepared to face publicly. He glances toward the baby sleeping quietly in the next room. Small fingers curl instinctively around a blanket, unaware of the chaos it has created. Bekethemba feels a pang he cannot label. Shock, fear, guilt, and something strange like warmth twist together. This child is his blood, his responsibility, yet he struggles to accept the change it brings to his ordered world. Memories flood him. Years ago, secret conversations, stolen moments, promises never fully kept. The woman who vanished, leaving questions and silence behind, suddenly feels present in every thought. The past, long hidden, has returned and cannot be ignored. He had believed he could control his story, but the story now writes itself with the baby at its center. Outside the office, life continues, unaware of the storm inside. Staff walk corridors, follow routines, and believe nothing has shifted. Inside, Bekethemba fights with himself, balancing pride against undeniable truth. He cannot undo the bond, cannot erase the child, and cannot pretend the results do not exist. For the first time, power feels powerless. Slowly, a plan begins to form. He will protect this child, even if it costs him comfort, control, or public perception. There is no time for denial, only preparation for the unavoidable. He must navigate this reality carefully, balancing his image with responsibility, secrecy with honesty. This revelation marks the turning point. The mansion, his life, and even his heart will never be the same. What once seemed untouchable is now fragile, and what he once ignored demands attention. The future begins with a small heartbeat, and Bekethemba realizes that some truths, no matter how shocking, cannot be hidden. Instead of reward, Zalamphi demands protection and dignity for the child. She refuses the gifts, money, or praise that anyone might expect from someone who discovered a secret like this. Her eyes are steady, her voice firm. She does not want luxury. She only wants the baby to be safe, loved, and treated like a human being, not a scandal or a burden. Bekethemba listens, surprised. He expected gratitude, maybe silence or even fear. Instead, Zalamphi stands strong, carrying not just the child but a courage he has rarely seen. She speaks about respect, about giving the baby a life free from shame, and about keeping the past from defining the future. Her words are simple, yet they hit harder than any wealth or power. The mansion, always polished and cold, feels different now. Walls that once echoed only authority now seem to listen. Even the staff notice a shift. People who feared speaking now feel a strange relief that someone finally cares about what is right, not what is convenient. Zalamphi's demand is not just for protection. It is a statement that honesty and humanity matter more than status. Bekethemba feels a new weight. This child, once a secret, is now a responsibility that cannot be ignored. Zalamphi is not asking for control, only for the chance to see the baby live safely and with respect. She has placed trust in him, and he knows he must honor it. It is not a command from a CEO, but a plea from a brave heart, and it carries power of its own. As days pass, changes begin quietly. Guards and staff are instructed to treat the child with care. Rooms are prepared, routines adjusted, and policies softened without fanfare. Zalamphi watches, her heart full, knowing that her insistence has begun to reshape the mansion. For the first time, warmth touches spaces that were once only about hierarchy and wealth. The baby responds instinctively to this safety, eyes brighter, movements freer, a small life thriving under human kindness. Zalamphi's choice echoes beyond her own role, showing that one person's courage can alter a world built on control. Bekethemba begins to learn humility, responsibility, and the value of listening, not just commanding. In demanding dignity instead of reward, Zalamphi changes everything. She teaches that true power is not in money or status, but in protecting those who cannot protect themselves. The mansion is no longer only a place of wealth, it becomes a home, a sanctuary, and a testament to bravery, honesty, and love. Bekithemba shocks the media by acknowledging the baby during a press event. Cameras flash, microphones lean forward, and reporters whisper, sensing something extraordinary is about to happen. The room, filled with people expecting another polished speech, freezes when he steps up. His usual calm, controlled demeanor holds, but his eyes reveal a new determination. He begins slowly, choosing every word with care. There is no hesitation, no hiding behind corporate success or clever phrasing. He admits the truth, that the child belongs to him, that mistakes of the past cannot erase responsibility, and that life is bigger than pride or fear. Reporters exchange stunned glances. This is not the story they expected. This is personal, real, and powerful. Zalamphi stands nearby, quietly holding the baby, her presence almost unnoticed at first. But the audience quickly sees her, the courage in her posture, the bravery it took to demand protection instead of reward. She becomes a symbol of honesty, integrity, and humanity, capturing attention far beyond the mansion walls. The baby, swaddled and calm, gurgles softly, a tiny life holding the room in awe. Questions fly, but Bekithemba answers with respect, never deflecting blame, never hiding facts. He speaks about choices, lessons, and the importance of truth, showing a side no one has seen before. His words are simple yet striking, leaving the audience shocked and inspired. Social media erupts instantly as pictures, videos, and quotes spread like wildfire. People admire him for owning up, but even more for showing care and responsibility. The mansion, once a place of cold luxury, now feels connected to the world outside. The media reports do more than reveal a secret. They tell a story of courage, honesty, and unexpected family. Viewers, followers, and strangers alike are captivated, commenting on the bravery of both Zalamphi and Bekithemba. Respect and empathy replace gossip. This moment changes everything. The child is no longer hidden, and the mansion no longer stands only for power. It now represents honesty, protection, and love. Bekithemba learns that truth and responsibility matter more than pride, and Zalamphi's choice to insist on dignity transforms her life forever. By acknowledging the baby publicly, he rewrites the story of his life, showing that even the coldest walls can warm when people act with courage and heart. The event becomes unforgettable, marking a turning point not just for the mansion, but for everyone who witnesses the moment. The baby changes the mansion forever, and Zalamphi's honesty rewrites her destiny. From the moment the child enters the home openly, everything feels different. The cold hallways seem warmer, the polished floors reflect more than light, they reflect life. Staff who once moved silently now smile, laugh, and care in ways they never dared before. The mansion, built for control and rules, becomes a place of compassion and hope. Zalamphi, once unnoticed and quiet, finds herself at the heart of this new rhythm. Her courage to speak the truth and demand dignity for the baby earns respect from everyone. No longer just a worker, she becomes a guardian, a protector, and a bridge between the past and the present. Her voice is heard, her decisions valued, and her presence changes how the household functions. People listen to her, trust her, and admire the strength it took to act rightly when fear could have made her run. Bekithemba begins to see the mansion differently too. The power and wealth he prized suddenly feel less important compared to love, honesty, and responsibility. He learns to slow down, notice small moments, and care in ways he had never done before. Watching Zalamphi interact with the child, he realizes leadership is more than giving orders. It is protecting lives, nurturing trust, and admitting mistakes. The baby brings life into every corner. Laughter replaces silence. Tiny hands explore halls once reserved for ceremony. An innocent curiosity breaks walls built from pride and secrecy. The mansion's atmosphere transforms. Guests feel warmth, and staff treat each other with kindness rather than just efficiency. Every corner tells a story of new beginnings, and the presence of a child turns ordinary days into moments full of wonder and connection. Outside, the world takes notice. People are inspired by the story of courage, truth, and transformation. Zalanthi's decision to act bravely becomes a lesson for others, showing that honesty can change not only your life but the lives of those around you. Bekithemba's public acknowledgement and care for the child remind everyone that power means nothing without responsibility and love. In the end, the mansion is no longer just a symbol of wealth. It becomes a home built on trust, respect, and family. The baby's small heartbeat leaves a lasting impact, creating a legacy of compassion, bravery, and hope. Zalanthi, once invisible, now shapes the future, proving that honesty and courage can transform even the coldest of places. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing African tales. Stay tuned for the next exciting story.